Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Full Melt.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
What this is. I was playing with it for a minute. I'm trying to figure it all out. It's still going. Let's see if we can get it. Let's do this, and let's do this.
Just to see what you guys got going on, I wanted to let you know I'm going to go down, and I'll fill you in, too, on what happens tomorrow. I'm going to go down and check out the cannabis church in Indianapolis. So I'll give you an update on that. After tomorrow, I'll give you a call and fill you in. I hope you have a good radio show. Like I said, I was just calling in to listen to it. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for all you do.
I think that was J-Bud. I think that might have been J-Bud calling on that line. I don't know. Let's just it's weird because what happens with the voicemail here on the radio show is if you call the show, welcome, by the way, to the PetPain.com studios. It is another full edition of the Full Melt Show. I'm Steve Green. Listen, when you call the radio show and you leave a voicemail message, and somebody did, they called right at the beginning of the show here, right as we're going on the air, and because I didn't take the call, it sent it off to voicemail, and so I was trying to play. Let's see if we can get the whole thing in detail again. Let's see if it'll do it. Who is it?
Down here in Southwest Michigan. And I just calling in to listen to the radio show. I was sitting on the road or whatever. Anxious to see what you guys got going on. I wanted to let you know I'm going to go down, and I'll fill you in, too, on what happens tomorrow. I'm going to go down and check out the cannabis church in Indianapolis.
Look, I think that's great. We've already heard the rest of the message. Look, I think that is J-Bud. I think he was trying to text the other Steve Green right before we were going on the air. Like, look, dude, I'm getting ready to go on the air. If you're texting the wrong guy, I am not the right guy to text. And so I think he called the number. I should tell him to call back, and at least if he's on the road, he's trying to listen. Let me just tell him to try back. Call back Jay. See, I should be doing Jay. See, this time I did say it. I typed the call back and I said the J. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of marijuana today. I was looking through the news, and there is some interesting stuff that's happening in the West Coast, on the East Coast. Both when you're talking about the East Coast, look at Congress. Congress funneling all kinds of incoming messages concerning marijuana. The NFL talking about marijuana. Now, it's not so much the NFL. Their mum's the word, the NFL. We'll talk about that in a bit. I've been working on that story with the NFL for a while now. And it seems Bleacher Report people might have scooped me on some of that. Let's see what happens. I'll give you that Bleacher Report here in just a bit. As it relates, and you know what? I have to... Let me just digress for a moment, because I got to tell you, there's an event coming up that I've been trying to remind everybody of locally here. It is a local event, so put up with me for just a minute for the local guys. I can't leave our local people out. They've been so supportive of us through the years. Puff Danny's Glass Boutique presenting Puffapalooza. It's happening in just a short month from now. Saturday, August 8th at Pine Hollow Golf Club. It is in Jackson, Michigan, beautiful Jackson, Michigan. You can get tickets to this live music event. It's $20. If you want to see Degata, Aztec and the Barfly, Jeremiah Ferguson, Always Light, the Hombres, LZ, Alchemist, Dogface Gremlin, 31 Legions, DJ Alex 5, I Am Trouble, and more. Make sure you get tickets at puffapalooza.brownpapertickets.com. They have VIP tickets available. And you can also check out their live glass blowing and prizes. They're going to have prizes, door prizes galore. Vendors, full bar, disc golf. Disc golf tournament is on Sunday with $10 per person with a cart. Again, puffapalooza.brownpapertickets.com. It's Puff Danny's Glass Boutique on 4th Street in Wyandotte, a beautiful Wyandotte, Michigan, suburb of Detroit. So I had to get that in because I meant to get that in yesterday. But then let me kind of make sense of all of this because sometimes it doesn't always make sense as it comes in context. Yesterday, at the very end of the program, we had talked about the news during the program of the church, the First Church of Cannabis in Indiana, run by Bill Levin, a marijuana supporter and advocate in the area, also a member of Normal, if I'm not mistaken, with his proud peacock down there, starting the First Church of Cannabis the day that they began the RFRA. So that's why J. Bud was calling, because he was going to leave the message that he's going to check out. I got to call J. Bud. Let's see if we can get J. Bud on the phone because I want to talk to him now that we're mentioning all this. I want to see if I'm going to put him on the iPhone. Unfortunately, that's the best way that I can get him right now. So let me just hook that up here. We'll see if we can't get the call in. There it goes. This is also the Canalock.com no smell lines. Look, Jay, what happened to J. Bud? Did it say call failed? It did say call failed. This is what happens when you deal with cell phones. Let's see if we can do it again. I know Jay might be in a crappy area. It might not be my phone or the service. Love my iPhone. Waiting for an iPhone 6. It sounds like crappy service. It sounds like sketchy area. The message sounded rather rattled too. And he said he was traveling. Oh, man. Not getting the J-Bud. I'll give it one last swing while I'm talking to you about this, while we're talking about this RFRA thing. Because at the end of the program yesterday, we got Bill Levin on, finally. Now, that sounds like a better, stronger signal. Let's see if he's in an area where he can pick the line up. And Bill was saying, no, we're gonna do the civil court thing. Hey, J-Bud, this is Steve Green. We're on the air. Can you talk?
Yeah, I might lose you here in a minute in reception, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we had to play your message at the beginning of the show because you called like right before the show started, and when I didn't answer the phone, it looks like you went to voicemail.
Yeah, I just calling and listening to check you guys' show out today. You texted back, I texted the wrong one, obviously, as you've seen, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay if you call back after our conversation. If you call back to that number, I'll put you on hold so you can listen on hold if you're having a problem with reception in your area.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll work.
So
you
go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I got an invite to go down to the Cannabis Church in Indianapolis tomorrow.
Bill Levin got a hold of you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about it. We'll be heading down there and go down and I'm gonna see about if they'll come up here to Michigan and talk a little bit about it and see about getting a group of people together and that's interested in starting something like this and kind of see what format that they went through.
Well, the thing is that they've got the RFRA to work with. We don't have such a law here in Michigan. That's the only way that they exist there.
Oh, okay.
You see, it's difficult. See, the reason that he began that church, do you understand the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, because of the what the state did there. Yep, freedom of religion or whatever.
Right. The RFRA was instituted. It basically blocks government from getting into the affairs of a church. So, assumably, if the church sacraments are cannabis and they use cannabis as part of their church rites, Bill's thinking, this is instant legalization of cannabis church in in Indiana. Boy, I got Ohio on the mind, let me tell you.
Yeah, right.
And so in Indiana, they've been struggling with this for a while, and they've got kind of a convoluted. I don't know. It's real conservative over there. It's really messed up. I think as far as the way the legislature and the state government goes. Indiana's a strange beast, being down. You could say part of the Midwest, but it's kind of not. It's part of the Corn Belt, but it's kind of not. They've got no real big cities except for Indianapolis, and what else you got in Indiana? I mean, I don't know.
Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a few smaller cities. They don't have any great big major cities. They're not like although they are on a couple of rivers there, they don't have anything going on as far as ports go outside of the rivers connected to the Great Lakes. And then probably the Mississippi. But other than that, it's just kind of sits there. And so they got a little bit of political turmoil because they're kind of a melding pot between there's like a bit of Chicago in there. There's a little bit of Michigan in there. There's some Ohio in there. And beyond that, I don't know. It's strange politics there in Indiana. So the whole idea with this church existing on this foundation, Bill began that church. He went down and registered for the nonprofit name the first day that the governor signed that bill, the same day. So so it was kind of a pushback. Hey, they've created a double-edged sword here, and we were talking about this on yesterday's show. The edge of the sword was intended, really, if you look at the, if you go in depth and look at the politics of it, the people who are behind the funding of this bill, because there were definite lobbyists in there lobbying the government to get this done, that RFRA, and they were indeed the people that were trying to let businesses be able to say, no, we don't want your gay ass in here, get out. I mean, that's basically what it was. And so it was a form of discrimination. And you know, when they highlighted this and everybody said, oh, you know, a lot of people started pulling out business. They got this horrible bad name. They went back and modified the law a little bit, saying you can't really discriminate against people. I mean, it was just a big mess. Indiana still got egg on its face over this. So Bill, now, this bill doesn't take effect. This RFRA thing doesn't take effect until guess when? Tomorrow.
Yep.
So it takes effect tomorrow. And it so happens that, you know, they're having a church service that day. And so they're, you know, he's got this, you know, Monday through Friday service going. I don't know what he's got going on the weekends, but I know it's going on Monday through Friday, different thing every day of the week. I think it might be 7 days. In any event, the idea was, the news story that broke yesterday was it's the local police chief there where the First Church of Cannabis resides held a news conference. And at the news conference, he said, anybody smoking pot in that church is getting in cuffs, and we're taking him off to jail. Oh, we lost him. Damn it. So I was trying to explain to Jay, and now I'll just finish the story for you. That's what happens on an iPhone. I'm just saying. So the whole idea is that when this police chief put his message out, they said, okay, guess what? We're not going to have cannabis on the first day of services, on you know, the first day that we could probably do this. We're not going to do it. Jay says, lost service. Yeah, we know. I'm going to unplug the iPhone now so it doesn't interrupt us. Because the rest of it's on mute. You can't hear a damn thing it says. Because everybody texts and calls during the show. It's just weird. Not a ring all day. I'm calling out. Not a ring all day. And then all of a sudden at 7 o'clock, ring-a-ding-ding. Bloop, bloop, bling, brr, brr, all kinds of stuff coming out of that phone. So, now that the police chief has made this announcement and the church has retorted with, we're not going to have cannabis on the first day. But so what they're trying to avoid, the guys in the church says, we're not going to jail. We're not going to be put on the defensive by making us defendants in a criminal trial over marijuana in our church. Instead, on the first day, we're going to go down and file suit against you guys for making these claims about our church and seeing exactly how good the RFRA acts when it comes to letting these guys have the freedom that the act created. Ha ha!
You're getting the full melt.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
Get growing with GrowMax. Indoor, outdoor, beginner, or a warehouse full of Gavitas. Probiotic organics, or huge production with Max Power monster aeroponics systems. We can help you rock it. YouTube GrowMax with 2 X's. Customer service is why we're blowing up. And I'm Dave. My cell number is 906-221-2111. We also specialize in electrical and HVAC and new double-ended bulb technology. 906-221-2111. Get growing. GrowMax.
Get the beach bong ready for sunshine and sandy beaches in Negril, Jamaica this November as the High Times Cannabis Cup moves from Amsterdam to the Caribbean. Your trip starts with the absolute best rates on airfare, hotel, events, and all your Cannabis Cup travel needs at travelcannabiscup.com. Come stay with us, relax in the sun, play in the sand, and smoke down with the cool people, man. Get to the High Times Jamaica Cannabis Cup. Best travel prices right now at travelcannabiscup.com.
This summer, discover the one place where your family will create unforgettable memories. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Rated PG-13.
It's the Full Melt radio show.
I wanna be bad with you, girl, like we're robbing a bank.
Hey, we make it really easy for you to get a copy of the Full Melt show every day automatically, whether you get a chance to listen live or not. Just go to thefullmelt.com and click on the iTunes logo and subscribe. It's really simple to do. So we had J-Bud on the Canalock.com no smell bags phone lines. Actually, it was the Apple phone, but it's still the Canlock phone line. They cover the phones here, I'm just saying. We lost him, but I'll tell you, while I was talking to Jay, I mentioned Ohio by accident because I do have Ohio on the mind. So the Senate Rules Committee is meeting tonight in Ohio again, and it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if indeed... I thought I muted all that crap. Why is it doing it on me? It should be making no cricket noises. It's silenced. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to just vibrate. Damn it! You can't even make the own phone do the thing it's supposed to do. Anyway, so listen. They were meeting at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I don't know. It seems like they had been putting. We're talking about the bill that they're trying to do against. Now, okay, let me just wind back here. Let me just make this make a lot more sense. So, in the first place, there's this business with Responsible Ohio. Part of the news that broke today, and I'll just see if I can find the story for you, is about Ohio getting all the signatures in with Responsible Ohio. So, Responsible Ohio turned in over 700,000 signatures today. This, according to Cleveland.com, I think this is the same publication as the Cleveland Plain Dealer. The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws notes that Ohio has decriminalized marijuana to some degree since possession of less than 3.5 ounces is a minor misdemeanor punishable by a $150 fine. There's no jail time, no criminal record. It's treated, Normal says, like a minor traffic violation. This fall, one statewide ballot issue proposed by voter petitions promoted by an organization named Responsible Ohio is expected to ask Ohioans to amend their state constitution to fully legalize marijuana. And this is the part that everybody's entangled with, because nobody has a problem with the first part, and give a group of investors a monopoly over commercial production of marijuana in Ohio. That's the part that they hate. I also have issues with it. I don't think the government, in a free democracy. I think this is J-Bud. Hey, J-Bud, is this you?
Yes, I'm back.
You want to listen for a minute?
Yeah, let me listen in here.
All right, hang on a second. We're telling a story about the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Hang on a second. Putting J-Bud on. Oh, damn it. I dropped him. Call back, J-Bud. Sorry about that. Jay was calling to listen because I think he's in an area where he can't pick up a good stream of the show. So he's going to listen, through his cell phone. A second issue. So this give investors a monopoly over commercial production of marijuana in Ohio. Second issue, the House Joint Resolution 4, co-sponsored by Reps Ryan Smith, a Gallia County Republican, and Michael Curtin, a suburban Columbus Democrat, and backed by Republican State Auditor Dave Yost. These are all local names for those guys. Will ask Ohioans to amend the Constitution in a different way. Last Wednesday, the House voted 81-12 for H.R. 4. It's H.J.R. 4. It deserves passage by the Senate and approval by voters. The Smith-Curtin proposal would forbid creation of commercial monopolies by voter-initiated amendments to the Ohio Constitution. whether for marijuana or anything else. HJR4 is worded in such a way its backers say that if voters approve both HJR4 and Responsible Ohio's plan this November, HJR4 would block Responsible Ohio's marijuana gambit. And that is indeed the problem. Poor Jay, he didn't call back. I feel bad now for Jay. I feel bad that he can't listen to the show right now. Jay, get some good cell phone service so that you can listen on the road. Really easy. Just plug your phone right into your little auxiliary jack and you listen on the radio. So this is particular news coming out of the Plain Dealer today because also, they turned in over, I forget, it was like close to 732,000 ballot petitions. I'm just pulling a number out of my ass, but it's somewhere over 700,000 petition signatures for Responsible Ohio turning it in. So there's no question. There's really no question. I couldn't see them invalidating over half of them to say no, because I don't remember the exact number that Ohio needs. I know it's a sizable number, but I think it's in the 300,000 arena. So, I got to ask Jay. He's texting me now. He's like, oh, my service sucks. No, I hung up on you, Jay. Sorry about that. I want Jay to go out there to the RFRA and hang out and report to us tomorrow what's going on. I'll get a hold of him after the show and see if we can't get him to report out there from the church service at the First Church of Cannabis. No, he's not going to be at the RFRA. He's going to be at the church. He's been invited by Bill. I think that's really cool. I hope he made that connection through this show. That would be even cooler. It may be the case. You can find Bill Levin online, by the way. Type Bill Levin. If you see a goofy-looking guy with pointy up, straight white hair, like Bart Simpson-style white hair, you found the right guy. That's Bill Levin down there in Indiana. So this Ohio thing, these guys got their signatures turned in. They're going to be on the ballot. I don't see they could, get enough of them disqualified in the disqualification process because they'll sample them and then test them against voter registrations and check all the names. They'll do all the testing on a sampling, and then they'll apply, if they do it like everybody else does, they'll apply that sample error. So let's say they'll check, 5% of them. And of that 5%, say 1% was disqualified for whatever reason. They would take that and extrapolate it out to a larger number and disqualify automatically the rest of the ballot petition based on that data, based on those numbers, based on that sample. And so I don't see there's any way that they could, disqualify that many signatures. Responsible Ohio would have to have majorly effed up to turn in that many ballot petition signatures and have more than half of them wiped off due to error. Or illegibility or not valid voter or double signature or whatever. They'll error rate it and do it like that. So now that Responsible Ohio's done this, the race now is for the legislature with this HJR4 resolution to see if they can't get it put on the ballot as well. And it seems like this is probably the time where they're getting ready to go, I would imagine, after Friday, Thursday or Friday, legislature will probably break for the 4th of July holiday. And, I don't know in Ohio if they're coming back or not yet. They might be out for the season after that. That's how it is here in Michigan. The legislature breaks for a summer break, and then they're gone for a couple months, and then they're back towards the later in the summer. And I think the idea is here they'd like to get this done, and I think they should get this done and on the ballot as well. So they know it's sitting right there side by side with that as an answer to that question. Because there's a lot of people that are like mad. They're like, no. Ever since, they did this casino thing there, this has been looming. Because the casino thing, they had casinos in Ohio just starting 3 years ago. And they've been trying for probably a decade and a half, maybe even 20 years to get casinos done in Ohio. They've got the riverboat thing they wanted to do. Never could get it done. The legislature always said no, and I don't think they ever got enough, signatures put together to get it done by ballot petition. But then the brilliance of Dan Gilbert and another firm that he partnered with came together and had enough money to say, look, we can get this done via ballot petition, and we'll just be the only casino owners named in the petition. The way they did it on TV is, hey, let's do gaming in Ohio. Let's stop sending everybody to Vegas. You can go right down the street and have Vegas right up the street, that kind of thing. So all 4 major cities got a casino, including Toledo, of all cities. They get the Hollywood Casino there in Toledo. Dan Gilbert and this other company are the sole owners. I assume it's split 50-50, so one of them's got 2 and the other one's got 2. But that's how they did it there. And so ever since then, the people of Ohio have been like, wait a minute. So they did what now? I know we passed gaming, but how do we do it? Oh, the only reason it got done was because all this money and the people who had the money, get the profit. Well, that's what they're trying to do with this ballot petition for Responsible Ohio. Same exact idea. They stole Dan Gilbert's idea and they ran over there. Dan Gilbert, by the way, if you don't know him, owns the Cleveland Cavaliers. Quicken Loans. What used to be Rock Financial here in Detroit. It's a huge thing. So big money. That guy's got a lot of dough. I think he's principally responsible for the new Red Wings arena going in. There's a whole new hockey district going into Detroit. Like a whole, giant, it's not only the arena, but surrounding apartment buildings, commercial and residential properties. I mean, I don't know if they're going to throw a theme park in there. It seems like it's a huge process. Whatever it is, they got a lot of money spent on it, and they intend to help bring back Detroit that way. These guys got a lot of money. So these other Republicans got a lot of money, too, and they want to do marijuana the same way. Hey, we'll be the benefactors. We got the money to put it up. We'll do everything. We'll collect the signatures. We'll pay to get them collected. We'll just throw money at this, and we'll be the benefactors, locking it into the Constitution that we're the only guys ever that get to grow marijuana in the state of Ohio. That's just a weird thing. So HJR 4 is bouncing around right now in the legislature. I don't know if they're still in session or not, but during the next break, I'm going to see if I can get an update and see if they got that done. That's the interesting thing. Sri Kavuru, who's principally behind OTEP, Ohioans to End Prohibition, a competing ballot petition that's collecting signatures now for the 2016 cycle, was posting some stuff on Facebook earlier about this, and I'll have to go back during the break again and check and see what's going on with that, because it'll be interesting to see that is settled if it becomes that way. And we'll be on that watch all week long. There's a Supreme Court decision coming down in Michigan this week. It should be. I'm hoping it's this week. I'm not sure when the Supreme Court. It seems like the Supreme Court in Michigan ends their session or whatever in July, not before the 4th of July, but after the 4th of July. So sometime at the end of July, they're done. So I would anticipate this ruling on the Hartwick-Tuttle case to go back before the Supreme Court, as far as, they've already done the hearing and all that stuff. We're waiting for an answer for them, and that should come in the next few days. We'll get into the details about that later. There's far too much left yet to talk about on today's program to get into the details of that. But when that announcement gets made, so we've been watching on that. And also we've been watching the Supreme Court for a while. The Supreme Court, I think, of the U.S. is, I think they're done. I think Monday was their last day. I don't know. I have to double check on that, too. I'm not sure. I know they're real close to being done. If they're not already done, they're done. They're going to be done, in the next few days here. That's why all these rulings came out about, the same-sex marriage thing. There was a whole host of them. We won't go over those because they're not related to our topics here today. But they do have a leaning, don't they? With the Michigan Supreme Court, the interesting thing to note there is a new Supreme Court justice on the panel there, Richard Bernstein, who wrote an interesting opinion in the Mazer case, which was a ruling that they had ruled on regarding the sticky note. There was a sticky note issue. Somebody in Michigan, a wife, was charged with possession and distribution and cultivation and all this stuff, maintaining a drug house. As a result of her medical marijuana carded husband, she had put some sticky notes on some stuff. Don't forget to do this in your garden. Don't forget to do that in your garden. So there was this big controversy about whether or not she was actually helping to cultivate the marijuana because she wasn't carded. The Supreme Court said because they actually the Supreme Court called the sticky notes in question. And you believe a Post-it note they didn't want to call it a Post-it note because they didn't want to give 3M some free promotion. It was a Post-it note, let's face it. Whoever figured that a Post-it note would be considered paraphernalia? I'm glad that it was, because it was considered paraphernalia. It falls under the protection of the Medical Marijuana Act, and her case was sent back to the trial court for further adjudication in line with the court's order. So I'm glad about that. But, there's so much more happening outside of the courts and outside of, these ballot petitions. Well, I guess there's even more happening with the ballot petitions. Let me digress. The ballot petition, there's some other process happening out in California, and it seems like California now is in the process of submitting, they got ballot petition language approved in California to once again go after the legalization issue. You would think that California, with its history being the first state to do the medical marijuana thing, would probably be foremost in thought, the first state also to then do recreational weed. Didn't happen that way, did it? They tried. They tried before Colorado and Washington. Now Oregon's in the mix. Alaska's in the mix. Washington, D.C. is in the mix of retail marijuana. They tried before these guys tried, and they screwed it up. And then they tried in the same cycle as them, and they screwed it up again. Regulate alcohol like wine, marijuana like, there's a whole bunch of different angles that they tried on this. And for various and sundry reasons, they didn't get it right. They couldn't get it down. Either people voted it down if they got it up there because they didn't word it well, or they couldn't get it on the back. It's just been a mess. They're going at it again. Today there is news out of mynewsla.com. Cool, man, marijuana legalization may get to the ballot. Because as of today, backers of an initiative that would legalize marijuana have received permission to begin gathering signatures. Secretary of State Alex Padilla announced Tuesday what backers have dubbed the Responsible Use Act of 2016 would legalize marijuana possession, production, cultivation, transportation, manufacture, processing, and sale. It would also create a board to license and regulate the marijuana industry. Now, the initiative would also establish procedures for release or resentencing of people convicted of marijuana offenses and establish procedures for erasing records of those convictions. The initiative would also impose an excise tax of $8 per ounce of dried marijuana, 20 cents per gallon of liquid marijuana-infused products, or $1 per gram of concentrated marijuana. It would permit voters to approve local taxes on marijuana sales up to 2% of the retail price. Medical marijuana would be exempt from all taxation. Local regulation of marijuana would be limited. So it's good to see California is getting this on the ballot. We've got much, much more news to get to on the program. It is the Full Melt.
Full Melt.
Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Alkaline water, herbal remedy, essential oil.
Sacred Elements.
Natural and organic shampoo, lotion, pain cream, bath salt.
Sacred Elements.
Beeswax candles and handmade crafts, canes and walking sticks, artwork, jewelry, and repurposed goods.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Dorr Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
You know, it's not easy out there, but it can be easier. And when it comes to medical marijuana in Michigan and chronic pain management, Dr. Bob Townsend, renowned for his patient advocacy and deep understanding of how patients and medical marijuana certifications fit together, makes it his hallmark to educate and provide the best holistic treatment for your condition. His knowledgeable staff makes you feel warm and welcome, and Dr. Bob makes you feel well. With locations across the state in Cadillac and Gaylord, Kalamazoo, Marquette, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Saginaw, Traverse City, you can't beat the convenience and feeling you get knowing you have someone on your side that cares. Denali Healthcare is on the web at denalihealthcaremi.com. Get answers to your holistic health questions or schedule an appointment now by calling 989-339-4464. Chronic pain management and holistic health answers is what they do. It's all they do. DenaliHealthcareMI.com. Get your certification and peace of mind now by making an appointment with Dr. Bob Townsend at 989-339-4464.
Get the beach bong ready for sunshine and sandy beaches in McGrill, Jamaica this November as the High Times Cannabis Cup moves from Amsterdam to the Caribbean. Your trip starts with the absolute best rates on airfare, hotel, events, and all your Cannabis Cup travel needs at travelcannabiscup.com. Come stay with us, relax in the sun, play in the sand, and smoke down with the cool people, man. Get to the High Times Jamaica Cannabis Cup. Best travel prices right now at travelcannabiscup.com.
Get growing with GrowMax. Indoor, outdoor, beginner, or a warehouse full of gavitas, probiotic organics, or huge production with max power monster aeroponics systems. We can help you rock it. YouTube GrowMax with 2 X's. Customer service is why we're blowing up. And I'm Dave. My cell number is 906-221-2111. We also specialize in electrical and HVAC and new double-ended bulb technology. 906-221-2111. Get growing. GrowMax.
It's the Full Melt radio show. You know, I've been working on this story with the NFL for quite some time. I think it's interesting, the story about professional sports and marijuana, because just as the temperature of people's moods about marijuana across the country change from hot to cold, or from cold to hot, I guess it depends on the way you look at it. As this changes, this affects other things in the world, just like professional sports. And since professional sports is so prevalent, it's such a part of Americana, I think it's important to investigate, to talk about, to explore the issues surrounding the NFL, particularly because I would say that it surpassed in capacity its national pastime label of the baseball league. I think baseball, it just there's something about it that when it was a different time in a different era, baseball was one of those things that was considered it was Americana. I mean, baseball, apple pie, Chevrolet. I mean, hot dogs. This is all what it's about. Cracker Jacks. People were into baseball better than they were now. Baseball's fallen off a little bit. The NFL, especially the last 15 years or so, has really taken off and become really what I would consider now the nation's national pastime. So marijuana is very important to professional sports players because not only is it something that many of them used in their previous to sporting lives, but it's something that also ends up becoming part of their sporting lives, not as a performance enhancer, not as something to get in the way of their ability, not as something that would make them, have a better chance of scoring better or playing better than another player, but as something that tends to impact them medically. So there's this story that came out, and I've been struggling this for a while because none of these professional sports guys, I mean, they got big bucks on the line here. They've got not only the contract with their leagues, but then they've got these tremendous opportunities in advertising that are available to them the minute they become a sports star. People, Nike and other companies start signing them up for these big, giant contracts. And so it's difficult because even when you get out of the league, you still are, looked up to as a former player if you've got any, record behind you that's worth noting. And that will lead to other things in their careers after they get out of the professional sports world. And so there was this article. These guys don't want to talk about this. They don't. It's at risk when they talk about this. And so you get some people who end up outside of professional sports, like Nate Jackson, talking about this openly, saying, look, marijuana is one of these things that is really a no-brainer if you understand it from his point of view, from the inside. Number one, a lot of these guys use it medically. They don't use it when they go on the field. They don't use it, during practice or play. They tend to use it outside of those hours, but they tend to use it a lot. And so when I saw this story today, and I'm particular, I'm not a sports guy. So in my professional career, I never made a lot of those contacts in my journalism career in the sports world because the sports department always handled that. I did the news stuff. I was out, sticking microphones in people's faces when stuff happened. Big stuff happened. The Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11. I'm out sticking mics in front of people's faces and dragging back audio for the radio. This is important stuff. And so these guys that do sports, I had no connection. So reaching out to sports guys relating to this now, because I use a lot of my contacts in the former radio world, my professional radio world. Not that I don't consider this professional. I do. But none of those contacts are available to me because I didn't develop them. So it's been difficult to get a guy, even in contacting Nate Jackson's publisher. He's got a publisher that published a book he published this book, what was it called? Getting Up from the Pile, or words to that effect, talking about sports injuries relating to, his career and how difficult, that can be for some sports figures. And so he's been very open about this. When this story came out today, they kind of, took my story idea from me. So in the absence of having anybody that I can bring on the air to talk about this, because I intended to bring you maybe Nate Jackson, maybe some of these other people that have been involved with formerly professional sports, a hockey player, a baseball player, a professional basketball player. Bring some of these people on to talk about this, at least in some small form, or at least get some comment from them about it. It's been a difficult go. I've even collaborated with other journalists, other professional in the world of professional journalism. Look, collaborate with me on this. You might have some contacts I don't. Also a swing and a miss. Today, the Bleacher Report, actually yesterday, the Bleacher Report scooped me. Do we have enough time to do this? Because this is a really long story. I'm going to swing the bat anyways. It seems like we have a few minutes. So let's go for it. Jamal Anderson, I'm reporting to the BleacherReport.com is where I'm getting this story from. It is dated yesterday. Jamal Anderson was a talented NFL running back with a bruising style who rushed for over 5,000 yards while playing for the Atlanta Falcons. It was a more physical league during Anderson's time, and he retired in 2001 after an 8-year playing career. It was nastier, more punishing. It was more measures taken by players to ease the pain of playing in the sport. Anderson remembers the prevalent use of marijuana when he was in the game. It was used for the enjoyment of its use, but also as treatment for the aches and bruises caused by professional football. When I played, 40 to 50% of the league used it, Anderson said recently. Anderson stays in regular contact with players now, and he believes the number of NFL players who use marijuana has grown significantly since he was a Falcon. He's not alone. Current players say marijuana use in the sport is extensive, with many using the drug to deal with ramifications of head trauma. One player said in an interview he believes smoking marijuana helped him prevent a suicide attempt. It's at least 60% now, Anderson said. That's bare minimum. That's because players don't believe in the stigma that older people associate with smoking it. To the younger guys in the league now, smoking weed is a normal thing, like having a beer. Plus, they know that smoking it helps them with the concussions. Interviews over the course of the past month with 16 current players revealed an NFL world where players who have not failed an NFL drug test and therefore aren't subject to multiple tests smoke weed weekly after games and occasionally after a regular tough season practices. Some of these players said many of their teammates and opponents smoke marijuana 3 to 4 times a week, depending on the time of the season and the physicality of the practices and games. None of the 16 players wanted to be identified, and by no means was this survey even close to scientific. But the results aren't hard to believe. 10 said at least 50% use marijuana regularly, or regular use defined as 2 to 3 times a week. 2 said 10%. 2 said 70%. And 1 refused to quantify but said a shitload. They dashed out the words there. One player who said he does not use marijuana puts the number users at about 10 to 15%. The other 15 players said they did smoke. With approximately 1,700 players in the sport, even by the most conservative estimate of 10%, that's still 170 players who use pot. If the number is 50%, or as Anderson said, even 60 or higher, that number climbs to an amazing 850 players. What's clear is that numerous players smoke weed, some because they like it, some because it helps them deal with the rigors of football, some because they believe marijuana helps ease the crushing and kaleidoscopic effects of concussions. All of this is done right under the nose of the league. The marijuana discussion in the NFL has become more important than ever. The NFL is in the midst of a concussion crisis in which science increasingly says concussive and subconcussive impacts can cause long-term brain trauma. The problem has become so concerning for players that two linebackers, Chris Borland and defensive tackle Anthony Davis, made the unprecedented move of retiring in their 20s, in part due to the concern about the potential brain injuries they could get. Davis tweeted he will be back, quote, in a year or so, end quote, but his original statement per NFL.com was clear on his motivations for putting a lucrative NFL career on pause at age 25. I'm reading you his quote. After a few years of thought, I've decided it will be best for me to take a year or so away from the NFL. This will be a time for me to allow my brain and body a chance to heal. I know many won't understand my decision. That's okay. I hope you too have the courage to live your life how you planned it when daydreaming to yourself growing up. Your life is your daydream, and you have the power to control that dream. I'm simply doing what's best for my body as well as my mental health at this time in my life. So listen, I told you this was a long story, and I'm going to read as much of the rest of the story as I can do because it's absolutely fascinating information, and I think it deserves a further glance on this program other than being interrupted by a commercial break. We'll be back to you with the rest of the story about the NFL and marijuana coming up next.
You're getting the full melt.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Registered, licensed, certified, ordained.
Sacred Elements.
Massage, hypnosis, Reiki.
Sacred Elements.
Raindrop, aroma and color therapy, body detox, ministry, life coaching, weight and nutrition counseling.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Dordt Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio Show.
I'm in love with an angel.
Hey, we're here Monday through Friday from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Steve Green. You're listening to the Full Melt program. We're talking about the NFL and marijuana. We just told you about the 49ers' Anthony Davis dropping out of the league at age 25 to get his brain and body a chance to heal. He's talking about marijuana in the BleacherReport.com. Picking up on that story, let me just tell you, Jason Cole of the Bleacher Report emphasized that according to a source, concussions were the primary factor in Davis's decision. The combination of this increasing concern with brain and body and the testimony from players and other interested parties about the healing effects of marijuana have put the drug in the spotlight. But don't expect the NFL to sanction its use, even under legalized circumstances, anytime soon. In the meantime, the league is not doing much to stop the smoking. Getting around the drug testing. How could you do so many players? How could so many players smoke marijuana and not get caught by the NFL, which tests for it? The collective bargaining agreement states that players not in the substance abuse program due to a violation are subject to one test for substances of abuse, including marijuana, from April 20th through August 9th. That's it. April 20th to August 9th. When is that? That is the off season, isn't it? But to save costs, one team union official explained much of the testing is done during the training camp because all the players are in one place. Yeah, that's why. They're not in one place when they're playing, are they? Then a player is not tested again until the following year. The only way that would change is if someone is stupid enough to smoke near or during that practiced, predictable testing window. You know when the test is, one player said, who's also a union official. Once you pass it, you can do as much as you want all year. Isn't that thumbing the nose and face of the policy? It is. But that's why they won't come on the radio and talk about it. That's why these guys are all anonymous in this article. He references them by, players. He tells you how many he talked to. But none of them wanted to be identified for obvious reasons. This may explain why Aaron Hernandez was able to smoke so much marijuana, according to court testimony, during his murder trial, per Ben Volen of the Boston Globe, and likely not to get caught. A league source says Hernandez was not in stage 1 of the testing program. The players interviewed, as well as several assistant coaches, said they believe the NFL and union have a wink-wink type deal, quote-unquote, as one player put it, where both sides actually don't want to tougher marijuana testing because they believe so many players would flunk the tests. The NFL and union deny any type of secret arrangement. I think the wink-wink, nod-nod answer is what's going on. If you tested the players during the season every week, one assistant coach said, we wouldn't be able to field a league. We would have to merge with the CFL. And I think that is what the highlight note of this article is. I mean, that's the big tell, isn't it? That's the big tell right there. If a player is in the testing program, the system becomes almost impossible to beat. Any player who's caught is then subject to testing up to 10 times per month. So a couple times a week, possibly. Players speak of the medical benefits. Though not selected for that reason, 15 of the 16 players I surveyed said they smoke pot. 15 of the 16 he surveyed. All described using marijuana for medical purposes, while 4 say they also used it for recreational reasons. All 15 said they used pot after games to ease the soreness of injuries. They also described smoking marijuana to calm the pain of sore ribs or a bruised thigh. None would say they had purchased the marijuana or how many ounces a week they smoke. Players said they never smoked on the team's premises. One player described how after home games, his wife would always prepare the marijuana to smoke, and they'd smoke it together, often while watching Game of Thrones or Mad Men on DVR. One player said marijuana ended what he described as a borderline drinking problem. Another, it ended it. He chose marijuana over alcohol, which is not tested for in the NFL, obviously. Another said past chronic knee and shoulder issues were almost gone. Not a single player said he knew of players getting high during games, though over the years in speaking to players on the issue, I have heard tales of this happening. Another player, well, of course, it's going to happen occasionally. It just doesn't seem to be a routine issue, and for obvious reasons. Another player was asked to describe his routine on the days he blazed. The most physical day of the week for him was Wednesday's practice. After practice, he'd go home, walk up a flight of stairs, go into a room where he kept all of his football-related items, trophies, and all that, grab his bag of marijuana off the shelf, roll it, smoke it, and watch TV. Then he'd study tape, go back to bed, pain-free. He said he did this routine after games. When speaking to players, they described weed use the way that others describe drinking a glass of wine with dinner. This is a matter of factness about it. There are no tales of abuse only, and this is the best word to describe it, relief. Players view marijuana as a savior, as a key to their survival in the sport, as a good quarterback, or as a smart head coach. All players said over the past several seasons they'd used marijuana extensively after head trauma, namely concussions. Smoking allowed me to recover from my concussion faster and with a lot less side effects, one veteran linebacker said. There's support outside of the NFL for the notion of marijuana helping with concussions. A Harvard emeritus professor of psychiatry, Lester Grinspoon, posted a letter on Vice recommending the NFL support the study of marijuana as concussions antidote. Google marijuana and concussions, and you'll see plenty of marijuana proponents attesting to the drug's benefits to alleviate a concussion symptoms and even permanent effects. But the players I spoke with don't need scientific evidence in light of their personal experiences. The veteran linebacker said that early in his career, when he'd get a concussion, he didn't use the drug one time. I had a really bad concussion, he said. The headaches went on for 3 days. I always tell people that I understood why some guys with head trauma want to take their own lives, because it's miserable. It was then, the player said, that an NFL team trainer asked him to use marijuana. The trainer told the player not to inform anyone on the team or tell anyone from the NFL. The player believes marijuana use extended his career and not only helped him heal concussions faster, but also may have helped him prevent a suicide attempt due to repetitive head trauma. There's this whole business in here, in this story. Again, just for the credits purposes, from the BleacherReport.com, if you're not familiar with the website. I'm going to continue to read some of this because I think there's a whole lot more. I mean, there's a whole couple more sections here. This is an extensive article on the Bleacher Report. Painkillers versus pot. There's a whole section about that. They talk about the number, how it's irresponsible for the NFL to be pushing these drugs on these players. That many of these players, many former players, many current players are currently addicted to these very potent addictive medications, and they will be for life. I'm not quoting from the article now. I'm just talking to you. I'll read from this one part here. The owner would not comment on painkiller use, citing pending litigation, such as a suit hundreds of former players filed in May. The owner did say, however, something that is often repeated in private among players, coaches, and management. I'm not sure you could field the league without the use of these painkillers, the owner said. So there's two big flags here. Number one, if we tested during the on-season, if we tested routinely, more routinely during these games, it would reveal all the use going on by these NFL players, because they're all going to test for more than half of them are going to test positive for marijuana. I would suggest it would be much higher than that. If you tested them as a surprise test, a lot of people's pants would be on the ground, I'll tell you that. There will be a lot of embarrassed NFL players, and I don't think they should be embarrassed. I think the use is there. I think that they're going to keep using it. I think the NFL is going to keep hiding it, because they said in this article we couldn't field a game without the use of either marijuana or without painkillers. Different coaches, different statements, same effect. They couldn't field a team. They couldn't field a game out there. Amazing information. This article goes on because we're running out of time. We're up against the clock here. I mean, we literally got a couple minutes left here. Policy change would be slow. Commissioner Roger Goodell said the league would follow the science when it came to marijuana and the NFL. I'm not a medical expert. We'll obviously follow the signs. We will follow medicine. And if they determine this could be a proper usage in any context, we will consider that, Goodell said in a January 2014 interview. Our medical experts are not saying that right now. The problem is almost no one believes the NFL will allow use of the drug medicinally or anytime soon. The belief is that the league will continue to prohibit its use through its collective bargaining agreement, which runs through 2021. If the two sides wanted, they could agree to strike the marijuana testing policy before the end of the agreement. But you would see Goodell smoking a big blunt before that happened, the article states. One former longtime team executive said, ownership as currently constituted will not allow marijuana use. This group won't allow it. I believe that players should be able to use it for pain management. Would you rather a loved one smoke a joint or pop tremendously addictive, strong narcotics? It's silly. We'll give you a Toradol, etc., but not dope. Nope, not dope. That's a drug. Dumb, he says. The problem, of course, that it's legal in most states, so although I think the players should be able to use it, saying okay would condone the breaking of the law in most states. So instead, the league would probably just look away. There's so much more on this article. Go check it out at thebleacherreport.com. I'm Steve Green. That's it. We're up against the clock. Time to go. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of The Full Melt Show as we approach the 4th of July holiday.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.